welcome back again to this week here at ECAC Apex Legends. I'm here with Saucy, and sorry for the delays. We're actually in the lobby right now, and so we're going to cut right into the gameplay, but welcome back to everyone again. Sounds good. And again, as the gameplay continues, you'll notice for 5 of those squads, we didn't get to view it. But other than that, we're still in the beginning stages of the first game with 2 teams being in check. Being in check means if you win the lobby next, you're crowned the victors of this ECAC Fall 2024 tournament. You have 2 teams, UB Varsity and Southern Miss. If either of those 2 teams win this lobby, it is donezo. Everything's over for the season, and we have 19 teams upset and 1 team very happy. And yeah. And it looks like we have some difficulties here on our end, but we're still figuring it out today. And so thank you for your patience. For now, you will hear only my voice, but soon enough, you will hear a beautiful king talking as well. For now, we're looking out Southern Miss, the lobby crowned kings, queens, and monarchs of this lobby. Southern Miss has been dominating this whole season, and when it came to finals, it was no different. Southern Miss absolutely crazy with how well they're performing in eliminations, but they no longer need those eliminations to win the bracket. They just need technically to squad wipe near the end, and if it's 1 team remaining with 3 players or 2 players, 1 player, it does not matter the eliminations they get from this game, but they do need to end on top. And so Southern Miss doing some pick damage, maintaining this pressure because they know if they give an inch, these teams in a finals match will take a mile. They need to stay focused here, and this high ground positioning is a good spot, but they're deciding it's not as good as getting involved in this building. Looking at Purdue's team, 2 or 3 squads, members of this squad remaining, getting picked off by some other angles here. Silverhawk not looking too healthy. They're going to try to play in between these 2 teams and heal up. Shield batteries now in play. And it looks like Silverhawk is really not having a good time. It looks like a W key from another team here. The bubble trying to revive. I don't know if it will occur. Looks like it does for now, but the Mad Maggie passive might be knocking these teams back to the ground. It looks like there was a squad wipe. M Dragon, while that res was happening, had a shotgun festival with those teams. Nice Mad Maggie Q there to hope and dream that they get a knock here onto Purdue. Purdue Gold is really trying to stay in this game, and it's the Vandals. Vandals V. Absolute fool with some nice massive shots. Puts 1 member of that Purdue team down. I think they're going to have to still rotate, but that's red, and that's not looking good for those teams. 2v1 now, I believe, multiple knocks, and they're now feeling the heat of a third party. University of Idaho Vandals are going to rotate on through, and Purdue 2 is going to be taking a quick, swift grave and hoping and dreaming of a victory next game. Now the Vandals are going to be rotating into another team, that Mad Maggie Q, hoping to isolate some of this initial damage from these teams. Playing around this rock will be a must. As they're rotating in, another grenade shows up out of nowhere. Playing close cover, it's not going to be good enough. These 2 team members have no shield, but they have hope. And now it's down to 1 member of this squad remaining. It's GFU versus the Vandals. Audi is low and not happy, as they're going to go down very soon here. And it looks like that member is now eliminated. GFU can stabilize, get all of those resources into their grasps. And that team took down 2 teams before rotating in, so GFU gets all of that loot. Now 9 squads remaining, 24 total players. It's looking good for a few of those teams. GFU has to rotate in very slightly, but the zone pulls fairly far towards the southwest. Now another team fighting in this bunker. A lot of teams healed up a little bit from the conduit cues, but it might not be enough. It is enough for now, though. Schreinder is going to rotate in, get maybe some sentinel shots onto some other squads as they're rotating. But again, this spot is not safe in zone, and zone's going to close in about 20 seconds. It's not looking good. And then here's Purdue Ren Dragon. We saw 2 members of that squad get eliminated while they were ziplining away, and they're in a decent enough spot for now, but it must not be safe to zone. Getting hit by this stun, it's not looking good for this team, and they've been eliminated. Now all these boxes are for Schreinder. They can loot up, and UMT Maroon was that team that was eliminated. Here Red Dragon is in zone, but if they get scanned, it will be lights out for that Purdue team. And now William Mary looking to get some placement points here. 8 squads remaining, so that means they're not quite in placement range yet. They're hoping to get those placement points, cruise up, and eventually be a team that takes out the victory among all their other college teams. GFU in a good spot here. So is University of Southern Maryland, or Southern Miss, and they're in a really good spot here. Honestly, out of all the spots, they are probably in the best one for rotates. There's a zip line if they need to rotate a little bit higher into this taller portion of the building. But if you're not ultimate high ground, you want to be ultimate low ground. Good shots here. Eliminates the shield completely. But again, Southern Miss has to decide, is it worth it to go for the eliminations here? They don't need any more to win the tournament. They just need a win. Now, again, still 8 squads remaining. They're taking the high ground for now. But again, look at how far the zone pulls south. The team that they just shot out and broke the shields of is in an opportune spot. But now it looks like both shields of those teams have been destroyed. A knock occurs, and Fwexo's panicking. Lazy Kapu is going to be healing up here as the bubble is about to go down, and they're in another split scenario with so many teams looking at just them. Pinging that bunker there is deciding maybe that's the best place to rotate into next, but we want to be the last rotate. Southern Miss taking some low ground here and controlling a lot of space. A really good spot to be in, but still, I'm nervous for the teams around. Ozen boys making sure they're not going to get rotated on behind. GFU is going to be one of those teams that still has to rotate in among a lot of other people. There's only a few people safe in zone, and the people that are safe in zone are in unopportune spots. The Rock, they were pinged from all different angles, healing up, and then waiting for another Gibraltar bubble. Looks like some teams are just staring at each other here. GFU realizing that they can play outside this bunker. There's no door that leads to that side. They can just chill there for now. KSUB is in a decent spot, but again, all that's standing in the way of them is a Newcastle ultimate. Although these ultimates have been buffed and it has a lot of shield on it, 2 full clips on one of those sides may be able to eliminate it from some of these teams, and that's all the ground they have to cover. Looks like there's a member of a team just sitting on top of this pillar, and no one's shooting at them. Looks like some shields happening here from Southern Miss. Big knock from TH Hales, and that's a full squad eliminated. MNSU is now eliminated from this bracket for now. William Mary also goes down. Southern Miss, although they don't need these eliminations at all, they're deciding they want to absolutely control the game. Kill leader still in the hands of Southern Miss. They're in a really good spot if they want to end the game and end the tournament right here, right now. USM Viz healing up just a little bit of that syringe. Every little chunk of HP matters in these last brawls. They're in a good spot here to get this ultimate accelerant. If they were able to get this Bangalore ult before the end of the game, they will have the entire lobby stunned. And now they can then go in for all the eliminations with all these teams grouped up. Although it says 5 squads remaining, now 4, GFU has been eliminated, and all of these squads are 3 members. They may not be all playing together, as there was that member of that team on the top of the pillar that is underneath Southern Miss right now. There's some teams rotating in. Red body shield. That's a good sign for these teams. Big thermite grenade. If it lands, big damage there. And they're going to pop that Bangalore ult down as well. Again, 3 squads remaining. One on the right of Southern Miss, one on the left of Southern Miss. And this bubble is going to be ending fairly soon. They popped it pretty early, but they do have the Newcastle ultimate to bunker around for now. A lot of these teams are still in a tough spot. Rotating in now. Cat U is still in a good spot, though. They're going to pull towards the middle, but they have the Newcastle Q to play around. They're deciding to W key onto these teammates fighting. Big shotgun shots. The batteries are being used on both sides to heal between these third-party fights. Martin's in not the best spot. They're getting shot from behind. Red shield now all depleted. They're now down to regular white health, and Southern Miss is in an unopportune spot. Schreinder is your champions. Not for the whole bracket, but for this game, and we'll see standings in just a moment as we get back into the lobby and take a look in a second. We'll be able to check in on the replays in just one moment, but I want to remind you guys that all of our ECAC Apex Legends clips and replays are brought to you by Advanced GG, the best gamer supplement out there. If you want to try something out, I would recommend specifically their green tea extract ones. Is the best caffeine I've had in my life. ECAC Apex, also, if you have any updates you want to have from ECAC, you want to do at ECAC_esports on Twitter to get all of your updates about this tournament and other games alike. Thank you guys again for everyone checking out our Twitter. We really appreciate here. Other than that, I want to say Schreiner played a really, really good game. They've played in a cat and mouse game between 3 people like rock, paper, scissors. Whoever does that first rock, paper, scissors, great. You know, they get eliminated out. Somebody gets a little bit low. Those scissors get a little bit dull. And then the paper can bite back. And it looks like Schreiner did just that as they went into that bracket there. They ended up being in a decent place where it was a 3v2, and the 2 people that were left alive had no shields. They were both white health, and that makes it so much easier as a team to go and eliminate 200 HP total of those people remaining. So I really, really appreciate Schreiner playing that passive game, being that third person to engage. The third party goes crazy here in Apex, and Southern Miss was this close to closing out the entire tournament, but they did not end it well. Again, they let the being bloodthirsty take it away from them there, because again, they were the first team to engage of the 3. They were the first team to rotate. It all works out in the end, though. And I believe Saucy is joining us in just a moment, and I hear him in my ears, so he'll probably be, again, you won't just have to hear just me. I know how, I hear my own voice, so I know how it could be. So I appreciate you guys staying patient with us as we get them back into the broadcast here. Let's take a look at some of those replays from previous weeks, and then we'll be right back in just a few moments. Welcome back again to everyone here at ECAC. We got Saucy. He's back.
I'm back.
You don't have to hear me as much now.
Am I back?
So we're very thankful for Saucy to be back and give me a break to breathe air again. So welcome back.
Hey, and don't get me wrong, or don't have anything mistaken. I was watching the entire time, so I am caught up, and I had a little bit of a theory that I was working with Chase when we were taking a little bit of a break, but I do believe that there was, maybe a little bit of conspiracy there. Other teams saw, they're like, what if we just ape them? There's a chance that they're Southern Miss, and they're like, just have the other team third party. We'll get the placement points. If it was them, we'll get higher placement points, and then if it wasn't them, then GG's, we get to go home. But all around, get more Apex. So good call from the team that got Southern Miss knocked out at second or third. But GG's, we still only have one person or two teams in check. Am I correct? We don't have anybody else up there.
There's potential for either of the Purdue teams. I believe Purdue too. If they ended up getting to the end there, Purdue had 40 points prior to that game. So if they're at a higher standing, and I'll check with our connections here at ECAC and figure out what their current bracket looks like for this tournament. But they could potentially be in check. Purdue too. No one else, even after one game, could possibly have that many points. But UB Varsity, Southern Miss for sure still in check. They can't get out of check. And then again, like I mentioned with Q and the break, is that we think that the team Shriner just sat in the back, but the other team, and I'm forgetting who they were at this moment, but they went to try to party and take that first engagement on Southern Miss because they thought to themselves, hey, if this is Southern Miss, we need to get them eliminated and make sure that they're unhealthy for this last fight, because if they win, the season for everyone is over. But if it isn't, and you guess the wrong team and Southern Miss wins, then the season's over, they win. But they're trying to do the nice thing for the lobby, and they're like, okay, if this is Southern Miss, we know they usually typically play these typical legends. Then if we ape them and hard focus them, then we at least get to play another game. And so that was a good mindset, and I like that conspiracy theory from Q.
Yeah, I mean, no bad blood. There's no malice behind these conspiracy theories. We're just trying to have fun here over at this ECAC, the finals of Apex Legends. Everyone on the edge of their seats, gaming out of their absolute minds, and we, the viewers, are just trying to enjoy more Apex Legends. But it was kind of like the stories of this last ALGS, where there were a lot of teams, really good teams, who got checked really early on. Take Not Moist, for example. Take Space Station Gaming. All these high caliber teams getting checked super quickly, but then just not being able to finish it out, and another team coming in to steal the entire tournament from them, just from getting check and then finding themselves a win at the end. But does look like we are going to have some slow engagements here. Kingstream TV is going to completely eliminate its Meto from the lobby. Chance for him to get rebooted here from his teammates, but just super slow. You'd like to see a lot of teams in the final circle, which I really do appreciate. A lot of clustering teams just trying to ult bomb each other and seeing what happens. UI Kaizen is going to get a knock onto the old 8th, but not necessarily the kill. Maybe just caught him lacking somewhere. Just playing it slow. It does look like we're going to try and wait things out. Maybe trying to force some teams to rotate into them. Over here at UB Varsity, another team that is within check. It does look like there's going to be a big team fight over here by the Cranes. We're going to have Ren Dragon, and as well as the team with Angry Donald. It's going to be Purdue against, I'm not too sure who this other team is, but, quick engagements, something, super light, flatline shots connecting, and now we're just going to be waiting it out. Another team, they do spot another third party out here on the northeastern side of them, and it is going to be Maverick Gold, the first team going to be eliminated in the match onto, what map is this? World's Edge? Other one.
Absolutely. And looking at this engagement here, it's Purdue, and this is the other squad that's top 4 in the entire lobby, and so I'm super excited to see how everything works out. Looking at this engagement, it's not the best. They're deciding to fall off because of these gray shields, and again, the blue isn't nothing crazy in difference to the gray, but confidence going in is a big deal. And so it looks like I'm taking a look at an updated version of this bracket, and Purdue 2 is 1 point off of being in check. So for this map specifically, the only teams that can win the rest of the tournament are UB Varsity and Southern Miss still. But Cat U, Purdue 2, and Purdue, the current team that we're looking at right here, are at 40 or more points, and so it's very likely that in this game they can pull it off in the end. But they can't win just yet.
Absolutely. And taking a look over here at Admiral Macron, going absolutely insane with the 30-30. Does a 3-2-1 onto the person who's trying to get this recon beacon, fleshing out, gonna get the knock onto TM60, gonna get shot by his teammate on the other side, trying to go for this finish, get the KP up and making sure that they have one less member in. That is going to be a full kill onto TM60. AWPE is also going to be eliminated here, and it does look like Purdue is going to take this engagement onto this team that has one less player, and not too far away for them is going to be William and Mary fighting their way out of the storm. Does look like they have quite a ways to rotate here, but does look like they are going to be looting off of that off that engagement with AWPE. WFU is also going to be eliminated at the hands of Odie, and Fuego is not too far away from elimination as well. UB Varsity kind of not in the best spot here, but as we know, this is one of the teams that are in check, so they are not going down without a fight. Fuego on the Gibby here is going to try to find that high ground with the 30-30, but does seem to, vote against it. Newcastle is going to be pushing up as well as the Pathfinder onto this team on the railroad. It does look like they did disengage. Oh, never mind. They were hiding in this little train car right here. Kind of some EVA 8 shots connecting onto the Pathfinder, but not being able to finish him completely. He is going to go down. This is leaving a 2v3 situation. It is going to be a 2v2 situation. Fuego did get another knock, so it's going to be a 1v2 situation in favor of UB Varsity against Cat U, and Cat U is looking like they just want to disengage here. Beautiful team fight from Purdue. Or Purdue, yep, and that is going to be in a full elimination on Cat U from UB Varsity.
Unfortunately, because Cat U did not get into placement points, and I don't believe they got a squad wipe, although they were a team that was in the 4th place, they were not able to get back this situation. And it looks like we're going to take a look at the mega map very soon here and take a look at some of how these teams are rotating in.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but they might have been able to squeeze themselves a little bit of KP, not necessarily because they didn't get the squad wipe, but they get the full finish onto the Pathfinder. I need to check my numbers on that later. I'm not too sure if that's how that works, if you need a full squad wipe to get KP or just single elimination.
I believe it's just a single elimination, but the thing is they had 42 points and you need 50. And so even if they got that 1 KP, they weren't quite in that realm of things when it comes to increasing their points. If that was Purdue 2 is that
Purdue
49
2
points.
is 49.
And so they were the team that if they just get 1 eliminations, they were in check after that, which would make sense for that KP if that was the style they were going for. But this is Purdue 2, a team that if they get 1 elimination, that means next game they have the potential to win the season. But again, there's still 2 teams in this lobby that regardless of anyone's placements, they will either win the season if they win the lobby, even if they are down points, and UB Varsity could have one of those moments where Southern Miss has 120 and they could win with 70 just because of the way that we do things here at ECAC. But it looks like, yeah, Southern Miss is at 120, UB Varsity is at 71, and then Purdue 2 is at that 49. So Purdue 2 is, again, looking for 1 elimination here, and then they can go in and check for next game, where if they win the lobby, they can win the tournament and upset both UB Varsity and Southern Miss.
And it is upsetting to see that Schreinder, the winner of last match, is going to get eliminated, as well as the Vandals. Let's take a look over here at Southern Miss is hiding out. This is a high, traffic spot for a lot of people, and it does look like they are going to switch it up a little bit. They are going to move away from the Pathfinder and actually going to bunker down and bring out the Caustic, which is very interesting. This is not how Southern Miss is usually, playing out. They're actually lying in wait for these teams to come to them, which is very interesting given how aggressive and how much they would ape other teams at the beginning of this tournament. For them to pull out the, what's the word I'm looking for? The barricade, or the, kind of the, in Overwatch terms, the poke character, I guess. You just lie in a building and you wait. Seeing that kind of playstyle goes to show, how much pressure is on these teams to try and perform better, because they can't push out as much as they used to, because if they one mess up is that's it, and that they're gone, or not gone, but that's their, they just can't win, because you need the win to make that check matter. So it's really smart of them to pull out a new character, find a new play style, and just ride it out until you win. So that's going to be Southern Miss. UB Varsity is on the engagement here. Does look like they're going to get into another team fight, trying to pop the Pathfinder ultimate, not being able to find an opening with this damage. But it does look like Flexo is going to be on the chase against this Bangalore. Is going to be shot out by this other team. Purdue is going to be eliminated here, which is very unfortunate. And now we're just going to see how this battle plays out. I believe we have 3 teams in the mix here. UB Varsity up top here, and then there's going to be the Southern Miss somewhere down there, and then the other team that they're shooting at right now.
Absolutely. And these teams are, again, looking to get in check. All these teams are mostly looking to get in check, but it looks like Flexo. Nice bubble engagement. 2 bubbles happening at the same time. Call it a 5-year-old birthday party. Bubble fast. It looks like it's going to happen. A engagement here with some shotgun shots, and it's MNSU Purple being eliminated, and it is UB Varsity the ones to do it. UB Varsity, again, already in check, but they're deciding to take as many engagements as possible to really display the dominance.
Yeah, UB Varsity looking like Southern Miss out here. I mean, the amount of aggression coming from this team, I mean, they really want it, and there's 2 different ways to show how you really want it. UB Varsity being one of them, just showing absolute dominance within this map, and then you have the team Southern Miss, who's just lying in wait, playing their cover, playing their time, playing the zone. And not to say that one's better than the other, but it is a lot more entertaining to watch a team like UB Varsity play how Southern Miss was playing earlier in the tournament. We're gonna have this goal, Purdue Dreamer, gonna be it's gonna be Purdue 2 in this fight here, and it does look like there's gonna be some knocks onto UMT. Very unfortunate for them, but super slow engagement here. Doesn't look like anybody's going to be going out just yet. William and Mary gonna have to be putting up a big fight against a team like Purdue too. Does look like very slow right now. Their backs are against the wall. They are gonna have to rotate here pretty soon. Valkyrie's going to be popping that Phoenix kit, and the other team is just going to be playing this bubble battle. Nothing really happening too far. The Gibby ult was used very early, and now Purdue is going to be using their Gibby ult to try and push William and Mary into a little bit more of a tougher situation here. And given that, you know, you can see them doing damage, is Purdue going to engage on this, or are they going to play it more patiently, knowing they have this zone advantage?
I would think they play it a little bit slower knowing zone advantage, because again, if they take this hard engagement, and look, the zone pulled super far towards the northeast here, which is opposite of where they are. So if they chose to make that engagement happen, then it would have taken them so much longer to rotate, and a lot more eyes would be on them with how much gunfire that the entire lobby hears. So a good decision making there. And it looks like Purdue 2 is having this amazing experience where, although they're Purdue 2, they're playing better than Purdue 1. So Purdue 2, again, in this situation where they're seemingly the second best team at their university, but they're deciding, hey, we don't care if we're Purdue 2. By next season, we'll be Purdue 1 with how we were playing this season alone. So really, really good showing from this team, as they've really made it known that they might not have to have that 2 next to their name at the end of the season. They're doing fantastic in this postseason world.
I agree, and it does look like they're having a little bit of trouble here, but then again, they are, again, like you said, showing themselves up and telling them, hey, we're better than Purdue 1. We're Purdue 2, baby. And, you know, even though they were getting aped by like 3 different teams here, getting caught in the crossfire, it does look like they were able to steal themselves and get into a position where it wasn't, you know, too bad for them. They are going to have Vandals looking out as well. And I am curious to know, where is the location of Southern Mist, knowing that they were in the building on the other side, more north of this city, but now that the northern part is completely covered in the storm, I am interested to know where they are. But it does look like Flexo and his team are going to try and take this engagement onto Yorai. It's going to be very difficult here, knowing that there are, what I'm seeing here is these 2 teams right here. There's a team downhill of Lazy Kapu, and there's going to be a team downhill on the right side of this other team. But, you know, UB Varsity, you know, maybe it's time for them to be, you know, punished for their actions. They were being very, you know, aggressive in the beginning of this map, and maybe it's catching up to them. Or maybe it could just be they've motivated other teams to just start playing more aggressively, given that there are only 11 teams left at the end of this, you know, round 4. Nothing really too crazy happening right now. Just trying to wait each other out, trying to see what's going to happen. A little bit of, you know, feetsies sticking out there, going to be punished for that. Quite unfortunate, but, you know, it's kind of slow so far. A lot of teams know where each other are, but they don't want to out themselves just yet, because as you can see right there, peek for a second, Lucky, and you're just going to get, you know, Sentinel shot from across the map, and then, you know, you got to start re-hiding again. But it does look like they are going to find this opportunity to push forward here onto this other team. It does look like they're going to try to land the massive shots. Bubble going down. 80's going to get the knock. Lucky's going to get the knock onto the UB Varsity's Lazy Kapu, but one of them is going to return the favor, and we're going to get one onto the side of Saints, and it's going to be a 2v1 situation. Saints is going to go for the res here onto the Newcastle, and it's going to still be a 2v1 situation with the Pathfinder. Is going to be the last person on UB Varsity. UB Varsity is going to find another knock, but Saints is going to finish it out with the final shots landing onto Lazy Kapu, eliminating UB Varsity from the rest of his team, and the Newcastle is going to, you know, be using his resurrection animation here to try and get everybody else. And now it's just up to Southern Miss, a final team in check, to win this out or put us into a map number 3.
Absolutely, and these teams are looking at, again, getting into check, and these teams are close. They're not quite there yet, but that was a really good fight. Deciding to use the revive from the Gibraltar or mid-fight, and then the Newcastle being able to heal everyone else up. And those, I believe they had 2 gold backpacks there, and so that gives you the ability to, when you revive somebody, they come back at 65 or 75% total health value across shields and health, which is really, really neat. And especially with how much Newcastle's been buffed as of recently. It just really goes to show how strong that shield is on the Revive. Really, really strong there. Vandals are really close to being in check here, so if they decide to have a really good game, they could be in check after this game as well. Not quite close enough for the 6 eliminations they currently have, but if they get 6 eliminations, get really, really high placement points, even win the game, it's really high potential they could do that. GFU in a decent spot, but not quite the best. Shotguns in play. Newcastle using the Revive here, and now Profitable Merchant able to heal up. Although they got knocked, it must have been through that window that we saw just right there, and then they fell down, so nothing crazy happening in the lobby. But KU Lake has been eliminated. Now it's 7 squads remaining, 21 total left, and that means everyone has a full squad. No 1-member teams, no 2-member teams. Everyone's happy for the most part, sitting in this post-game situation. But Zone pulls farther northwest. This team, George Fox, needs to be able to rotate into a crazy situation through so much traffic. But now they're in a good spot. They're pinging this team that they should be able to fight. And now we're going to take a look at the mega map and see how everyone's rotating in this zone. Looks like there's 2 teams occupying that building, 2 teams occupying the mid building, and then 2 teams occupying the southwest building. There's a team outside all the buildings, and that is what you're looking at from George Fox's POV there, with the bubble being utilized pretty early. Good grenade from that team, being able to isolate maybe some engagements here. And looks like Purdue now getting some good damage on this team, taking the high ground in the building, already occupied by 2 teams. Shotgun shots charging, that's a shield broken.
That's 2 knocks onto the side of GFU against a team that did ape on them earlier, so it is going to be a 2v or 3v1 situation in favor of GFU Varsity. It looks like 1 is going to go down, and it's going to be 2 going down actually, and it's just going to be Xenoplays, who's super low here in this last building, is going to get pushed by TM60 and yeah, it is going to be TM60 to get the final kill onto GFU. Not my boys, but can't linger on that for too long. It is going to be a top 6 situation here. KU soaring with a lot of utility over here, but let's not forget Southern Miss with that caustic is going to be doing a lot of damage, especially to the white health. Doesn't really need to do any shield damage here if you got that poison. So I guess he's saving up a lot of his canisters, trying to save it, trying to get into this engagement here. Purdue is looking kind of sad here. He's going to have 1 knockdown. Mercury still in the game. Very low, but charging up these PK shots, trying to get a knock onto UA Kaizen. UA Kaizen is going to go down. UI Odie is going to go down as well to King Streams, and KU Soaring is going to go down. Purdue 2 is going to go down. Persh University is going to have 1 left here, and it is going to be a final knock onto them. Southern Miss is indeed also very low too, with 1 left on their team. Is going to be the it's Bangalore. William and Mary is going to take it out. That is going to be another heartbreaking defeat on Southern Miss, with having only 1 person left, 1 team left, and just getting caught in the worst place possible, and not being able to get it out. I also want to say quick shout out to Gray Matter. I love you, bro. I used to be prod too. I love talking with you guys in the lobby. Shout out to Gray Matter.
Absolutely. And again, thank you so much to everyone here involved in the tournament so far. There's been a lot of people putting time and effort into making this all possible for you guys, so we always appreciate your guys' support. 2 things to note that you've already mentioned. That's another 3v3 squad situation where the first engagement happens with Southern Miss. They become exceptionally low, and then they take a fight with the last team that's been healthy, and they're like, hey, thanks for the win. Thanks for the win. And that was William Mary this time with the win. And they're going to jump up some points there. They were in the 15th slot in the total of 20 teams. So they were lower down there, but they're going to boost up with that win and with those eliminations there. William and Mary, they're making a name for themselves now. We've said their name now more than we've said it during the season. So that shows how much time they're putting effort into this game. But Southern Miss, another heartbreaking lobby for you guys. You guys are still in check. Don't worry. But again, a tough situation nonetheless. 3v3, v3, and then you're the squad that gets eliminated second of those 3 squads. It is heartbreaking. heartbreaking. But again, we are hoping that we'll get some updates here. I'll message again some of my contacts, and then we'll get some updated information on where everyone's standing for points before we get into the next lobby. What did you see in that last, end game? It was chaos and carnage.
Well, first it was just like, it's the whole snowball effect. You're just gonna have so many teams within a confined space, so many different ultimates, and there's so much different, natural cover, unbreakable things that you need to play around and what to know, but also having the inclusion of things like Newcastle Ultimate, the things like Gibby Bubbles, having those, artificial cover get completely turned to naught just because of a caustic or a Gibby ult or a Bangalore ult per se. It's just a lot of different, this is very, very complicated. It's a lot of flashing colors. Almost looks like an Overwatch fight, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, chaos. And then there's so many things happening. It's like, how am I supposed to able to call all of this information to let people know about what's happening? And what I want to point out I was able to listen and also watch at the same time, and the high ground team was able to hold high ground for a little bit, but it was like, this was how thin it was to be able to stand on this little high ground. It's just a wall, right? You can stand on top of it. It wasn't like climb it and then you go over the top immediately, but it was that close. And so they were able to stand on the top of it, maintain high ground for a little bit, and then go back over to the side, try to loot up real quick, get the shield swaps. But the shield swaps aren't enough because their white health was this sliver. They only had the ability to quickly shield swap if they had the ability to do so, and then climb back over into these teams. And the shields got the shield swap, but they had to immediately think to move. And in that situation, the zone's pulling, and it's 10 damage per second at that time. And so these teams are having to make quick decisions, get the shield swaps, but their white health never goes up because they don't have this ability to shield swap and heal, because the second that they go to heal, they can't climb over the wall that they're playing around. A tough situation if you're Southern Miss, but I don't think they'll miss 3 times. So it's going to be, if I were to make predictions right now, Saucy, what's your predictions? And then I'm going to tell you mine.
I predict that GFU completely goes Southern Miss on the lobby, and they win the next game, and then they get put into check, and then they win the 4th game. That's not biased. That's just science.
Yeah, your scientific method is a little bit sciencey, a little bit biased, but I do appreciate the hopes and dreams that you have as a fan as well as a caster. I want to say my prediction. Southern Miss, heartbreaking loss again. Purdue 2 is now in check. Cat U not in check yet. Cat U takes the passion from last game, wins this next lobby, which means that nobody else has won. We go to a game 3. This is a game 3. This is game 2. Game 3, then they have a heartbreaking loss. UB Varsity wins. If that all happens, I'm going to Vegas. But that is not happening. That's my prediction, though. I think UB Varsity will eventually pull it off. Not this game, but next game. And I think Cat U has the passion from last game that they're going to bring into this one. And it's going to be an amazing win from them.
Do you think we are going to see a play style change again from the side of Southern Miss going into map 3, or do you think that they're going to keep the the bunker characters and try and see if they can just wait it out? Because something that I did notice going into that last fight, no members of at the beginning of that final circle closing, no members of Southern Miss had red shields. It only was the overshield on the caustic because of the new controller passive. But I am very interested to see, maybe they are used to being all reds within the final circle, but given, just a sliver, 25 less health is a lot, especially shield health in a game that's so micro-oriented in a game like Apex Legends, especially in the final circle. Like you were saying before, I was impressed on how many times Southern Miss was shield swapping, especially in that last fight. Like sliver of health, easily like 3 or 4 shield swaps in a row, shooting against that Newcastle ultimate. I was impressed. I couldn't do that. My brain doesn't work like that.
I was impressed as well. And we're having some technical difficulties here. We're going to take a quick break. And during that break, we're going to reset everything, make sure all the mics aren't staticky for you guys. We'll be back in just a few moments. Thank you guys again for everyone at Advanced GG for all of our replays from all this season. We appreciate you. The best gamer supplement out there. We'll be right back in just a few moments.